I've heard it said that 9 out of 10 aspiring buyers never even close a single deal. And most people think that's a capital problem, but it isn't. There is a thought that a lot of first-time buyers do not admit out loud. You're doing all the research, running all the numbers, but underneath of it, there is this question that you're scared to admit. Can I really do this?
Yeah, as someone who has bought a few businesses, I can still think back to the search period when I was asking myself that question. I was analyzing deals, I was looking at businesses, and I was concerned, like, even though I have built a business from scratch with a business partner, and I think it's much harder to answer the question if you're buying alone. My solution for that question, the answer to that question, is to think about acquiring in as collaborations, in partnerships with others. The people who go into their first acquisition by themselves tend to have a lot more issues and struggle a lot more. I've had both of my business partners say at one point or another, I don't think I could have done this by myself. So I've done it with partnerships, and I recommend to everyone who's considering buying a business, consider a partner. And we can talk more about who would be a good partner, but just consider it. Going alone is not the only option. There are, I would say, better options out there.
Yeah. In our BizBuying Lab community, we talk about this phrase partner readiness. Can you kind of define what that means? Because I think if I were to hear that, I think, well, it means I like working with other people or not at all. So, what is partnership readiness?
Yeah, that's a super important concept, and it has nothing to do with whether I like working with people. If you're buying a business, you're buying a team, that means you are going to work with people. It's very rare that people buy a business that is like a solopreneur. It's possible, but less often. So partnership readiness doesn't deal with the types of people you work with, but it's really focused on the business buyer or the prospective business buyer who needs to understand their own strengths, understand who you are, what you bring to the table. Because if you bring certain things to the table, we talk about the 17 hats, and we say that most people are really good at three things. Imagine if you find another partner that is really good at three other things. All of a sudden, you cover a lot more ground. So partnership readiness has to do with whether you understand yourself well enough to identify the gaps in the potential business and then see if you are able to find a partner that would fit those gaps.
So, basically, having a lot of self-knowledge first before entering into a partnership, kind of
Yeah,
the prerequisite.
I would say that that is the important part. If I know myself as a business owner, and actually entrepreneurship is one of the best ways to really get to know yourself because you are going to have to deal with a lot of your weaknesses, or at least uncovering what your weaknesses are and figure out how to deal with them. But you also get to uncover your strengths. But when it comes to buying businesses, I do think that the more you know about yourself, the easier that type of self-knowledge makes the buying process. Like most people don't think about it. They just tend to think, oh, capital is what matters, or I need to find a business that makes a profit. And of course, those things matter. But if you don't know yourself, you're going to buy the wrong type of business and you're going to regret it. I have seen plenty of people who regretted the acquisitions they made.
Yeah. Is there actual research on this? Just figuring this out ahead of time?
Yeah, there is a lot of research actually. One of the research studies I like is was done by Gallup. They spent 5 years studying partnerships, business
Okay.
partnerships, and they talk about complementarity versus compatibility. So they say that what matters more is not the shared values. It's not whether you like the other person, you get along, you vibe well with the other person. They talk about really the strengths and how finding the person who has different strengths allows you to find to cover more ground. So, in terms of what you would say as a person who understands this concept, you would recognize that there are things this partner does much better than myself. He or she can do this much better. Personally, I can give an example. When I had my Amazon businesses, I discovered that I really, really don't like certain types of operational tasks. In an Amazon business, we would have to package things either at home and then ship them to FBA, to Amazon warehouses, or we would have to ship to our customers directly. And I disliked it a lot. There were times where I had product in the garage for a few days, and it was really hard to make myself do that work. And, in those days, I was like really questioning what is wrong with me as a person. Like, why am I not sending the product in? I was not making money if the product was in my garage. And it was very fascinating to me personally because I was a hard worker. Whenever I worked for someone else, I was a hard worker. But when it came to my own business, I would keep product in the garage for way too long and then delay the payment back to me on that product. So then, right, there was a delay between being able to get paid and then reinvest the money. So I uncovered the fact that I don't like certain operational things, even though they were easy. I do love other things that people hate. So we all have strengths. When it comes to uh, complementarity, there's that aspect of understanding who is the other person you really need, who has the strengths you don't have. It's going to make life so much easier. So for me, I know it's operational people, people who are very good at taking care of systems and taking care of operational tasks in the business.
Yeah, I think that is so, so good. What does low partnership readiness look like? Like if you're maybe not ready or they're not ready to work together, is there things that you should look out for? I think sometimes people might worry about entering into the wrong business partner and getting burned. Have you had any experience with that or
Yes, that's a great question because almost everyone I know has had some type of bad partnership or some type of bad employee relationship. We've worked with people, most of us, and we've had bad experiences in working with people, even if those were not partners. So I understand the skepticism, and I think it's good to be skeptical about it. Um, the fact that my argument is partnerships are going to make acquisitions easier does not mean that any partner would do. It doesn't mean that finding the right partner is easy. It just means that partnerships open the doors to deals that would be impossible for you on your own, and partnerships make things easier. But low partnerships usually refer, like a low partnership readiness, refers to finding a person that's just there maybe to give some money, maybe to encourage you. Is not You're not talking about a person who's doing tasks to help the business grow or run better. Um, so that's more like a split check, not a partnership in the way we define it. I've had bad partnerships, and it was because I didn't ask the hard questions of myself, and I didn't identify the type of partner I needed. And then when I discovered in a project that both of us were pretty bad at operations, guess what? It led to a lot of stress, and we lost more than we should have because both of us were bad at it. Now you can hire people, and if the business has enough revenue, you can hire, but then one of you has to be good at hiring for that position. So you see, it matters a lot the person you partner with, and there are bad partnerships. I've had bad partnerships, and I'm still a big proponent of good partnerships because I have seen how good partnerships have made my life easier in the acquisitions we do have.
so what if that's like low partnership, what does like high partnership readiness look like? Or questions we should ask ourselves as we try to figure this out.
Yeah, someone who can say, this is what I bring to the table. These are my strengths, and I need someone who has these strengths. When you identify what your strengths are and you identify what you need in this deal, you find someone who has that. You put those together, you've probably found a great partnership. You have a high partnership readiness. Again, I understand that finding the right partner is can be difficult, But that's why we talk about experimenting, right? Finding small things you can work on with this potential partner before committing to buying a business together. The good partners I have, most of them, were people I worked with on other things. And I didn't always connect the dots. It was later I realized, oh, I worked with this person in these little projects. I noticed that this person is very organized when it comes to operations, and I offer the person a partnership in a business acquisition. It was a result, I mean, it was in the background and I didn't even think about it, but that's how I found some of the partners I found. Now, in a different business, I was actually working on a partnership with a friend, and I noticed some of the weaknesses this person had. And then I still made an offer to partner on a business with this person because I also noticed some of the strengths, and I realized in this specific project, in this business, his strengths are going to make things a lot easier. And I was proven right. But I did notice certain weaknesses in a prior project. So try to experiment and work on some things together with the person.
Yeah, figuring out maybe what would be some low risk options if you're trying to partner with someone, you don't want to jump into a big business. You recommend trying to figure out how to work together first, in some of those smaller capacities. I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, I tested a couple of side hustles where
Okay.
I had this idea. I brought it to the person and I said, "Hey, can you help me with this?" And in a couple of the cases, I paid people. I said, "Hey, I'll pay you this amount, and then if we make more money, I'll pay you also from the revenue." So it was a rev share plus a little bit of a payout per project. So most of us can probably come up with types of experiments like that. See if you can find a weekend job that you can work on together. And even if you don't make any money from it, just to see how this person works. At one point, I was selling mugs on Amazon, and we had to, it was print on demand, meaning we created all these designs, we posted products on Amazon, but we did not print the items. However, I had like blank mugs, and whenever a design would sell, I would print the design on the mug, put it in the box, and ship it. Well, I asked a friend to help with the packaging and the shipping, and I noticed in one evening, in 3 hours, this person was really slow, kept asking questions that I thought she should have, answered on her own, like find the answers to it. And yes, I had a side hustle that allowed me to see how this person responds. But is there a job where any type of job where you can work with this person for a few hours? You discover a lot about someone in just 2 or 3 hours of working together. I think a lot of people can come up with these types of things. Maybe you pay this person to do some work in around the house. Like come up with something creative that allows you to notice how this person works. That's really the heart of these experiments.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. What do you say to people, entrepreneurs who think, okay, I this is too scary. I just want to do this on my own because there are entrepreneurs who've built billion-dollar companies all alone. So, why should they consider partnership, as a bridge dimension to getting to where they want to go?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's accurate to say that any billionaire has built businesses solo by themselves. They always had some type of people around them that made it a lot easier to bring their ideas to life. For some of us, maybe doing it solo is this the best way. Is usually if you do not like to receive feedback, if you do not know yourself, maybe just if, but you're pretty driven, maybe doing it by yourself makes sense. However, all the people I know who are successful are pretty good about working with other people, whether it's a partnership in that specific business or not. So if you want to be successful, I think uncovering your strengths, your weaknesses, and learning how to work well with people is always going to make a huge difference. I can be proven wrong, but I don't think successful people are just doing it solo. They always have people around them that really help them. And how you structure that, whether you call it a partnership or not, is different. But we all need other people to fill in the gaps and cover, right, our weaknesses. And when you have a weakness and you see someone else who's really good at that thing doing the task, it would blow your mind. It was the first time when I noticed it in someone else years back. I realized in that moment, oh, this is what people talk about. Like, find the right people to work with. It made my life so much easier because all of a sudden I got rid of this task that was draining me, that was really energizing for the other person. So I think partnerships or just working with people, if you want to use that phrase, is pretty essential to being successful in life.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree in other areas as well. What would be the last concept if you could just leave one last thought with us about partnerships? What would you want everyone to get?
Just keep in mind that partnerships open doors. If buying this first business or second business feels impossible, consider partnerships. You don't have to, right, say yes to them, consider them. That's all we want to leave with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's the 5 dimensions of our fit analysis. If you haven't caught all of those, we have other videos on the operator DNA, financial architecture, deal complexity tolerance, energy alignment, and now this covered partnership readiness. So join our BizBuying Lab community. The link is in the bio and watch the other videos if you've missed them.